The more strict you are with the kids, the chances are they'll lie to you. So just be open and honest with them and give them space.
This podcast is raising the next generation to be leaders of the next 20 years. And
I'm a 16-year-old girl and I'm of British, Pakistani, Vietnamese heritage.
To help them understand other cultures by interacting with people from different backgrounds, ethnicities in different places. Every child is different. I have three. I can't apply the same recipe to all of them.
I wouldn't call somebody older than me by their first name. If they're more than 5 years older than me, they'll get their uncle status because I am of Pakistani, Vietnamese heritage.
I wish I knew that sooner. Then my relationship with my children and how I approach things would have been a lot better.
Thank you for allowing me the space to grow, and I say thank you for being an understanding mom and trying your best.
This is a unique experience for me to sit down and listen to my daughter as a separate, grown-up sort of person.
welcome to Manners Maketh Mic. I'm your host, Francis Manu. This podcast is built on three pillars: diplomacy and protocol, where we explore influence, culture, intelligence, leadership on the global stage; entrepreneurship and business leadership, where visions, reputation, and communication shapes success; and the most important one that my production team, love talk about is raising the next generation, where leadership begins at home. Today's conversation is within that pillar, raising the next generation, because before diplomacy shapes nations, before business are built, before empires are built around the kitchen, we often hear about cultural awareness in schools, workplaces, our football pitches, our stadiums, our cinemas, all this stuff from home. The mom, the dad, the people that are raising this generation. The way we speak to one another, our curiosity is encouraged. How different we handle it. This quite shape who we are as a people. Today's episode, raising the next generation, for me is personal because I've get to know two wonderful ladies I call friends. More than friends, they are wonderful, and they have decided to share their perspective of understanding cultural awareness. And I'm delighted, joined by remarkable, elegantly lady. You hear her voice, Aleeza, and then her mom, Maria. Welcome to Manners Maketh Mic, Aleeza.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Before we dive in, I want to let our audience know. So I met you and your mom at Chinese events years ago. And then I said to myself that she has a future because the way you present yourself in that place, for me, that felt that not only you are raising being well because of your mom, but your approach. You were so confident to talk to people. And that's why I want to hear your voice. I want our audience to hear who you are. So, Aleeza, please introduce yourself to us, who you are, and then we dive in.
Hi, my name's Aleeza Rafiq. Um, I'm a 16-year-old girl and I'm of British, Pakistani, Vietnamese heritage. So I was born in Vietnam, and then when I was a baby, my mom brought me over to England, where I was raised for the rest of for my life up until now.
Aleeza, before we come on stage, backstage, you say you've traveled different countries. Can you name your favorite one?
I love Italy. I
Italy.
love the food and the culture. It's amazing.
So everyone go to Italy for romantic, or but you don't go to romantic because you're still young. I guess you go to your mom with your mom then.
Yeah.
Excellent, awesome. Because I'm gonna have a question mark. um, Maria, you, like I said to my intro, you've raised amazing, amazing young lady. And when I first met her at that Chinese event, her confidence drew me. And over the past few months, years, I've spoken to her many times and asked myself, what is behind this successful this young lady that aspire to do well? So we want to hear how you're doing it, the secret behind this. The stage is yours.
Oh, thank you. I think my main thing about raising kids nowadays is to make them understand, to help them understand other cultures by interacting with people from different backgrounds, ethnicities in different places, for them to understand them, for the children to understand other people, how they grow up, how they think, what's important to them. I think that's the key.
Aleeza has traveled many cities, Pakistan, Vietnam, and of course Rome with you. Where is your a place that you call the wow factor? I mean, I went to Morocco and I love Morocco. So where have you been that is a wow factor and reason why?
I think Singapore had the like biggest wow factor for me because the architecture was amazing and they have four national languages, which to me shows that like they're so diverse because you'll have Vietnamese people, not Vietnamese, Chinese people there, Indians there, like British people there, people from all over the world there. And it's like it's a very small but powerful nation. It's one of the strongest like countries there is, and they're like financially they're amazing. And I think for me the way that country runs and it's like built, it's just amazing. That's like the
Excellent.
biggest wow factor.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lisa. Maria, you raised an amazing young lady. What else do you do? So we want to know your profession, please. What do you do?
Oh,
Welcome.
thank you. I love your introduction there. Um, I don't do much, is the answer. I just let the children see things and grow themselves. For them to understand, like I say, to understand, to appreciate other people. That respect is really important. Yeah.
Thank you. Alisa, when you hear the phrase understanding other culture, what does that mean to you personally? Because you're from multi-diverse culture. You live in a multi-diverse area. What does that mean to you personally?
To me, it means like seeing the world and like understanding people's different perspectives on like life, and especially like one thing that differs like no matter which country you go to is marriage. I think marriage based on the continent and country you're in completely differs. People's perspective on it, people's view on it, it just completely differs. But it doesn't necessarily mean one way is better than the other. It just means that they're different and that's okay. So I think respect comes with understanding. I think if you understand and yet judge, then I think that's wrong. I think you should just respect it, understand it, and leave it as it is because it's not your place to speak about it.
Maria, you being a mom, you come from a diverse Vietnam and you're in UK. What does this subject mean to you? Understanding other cultures, especially in the kitchen, in our homes.
In the kitchen is yeah, food. Food is important to everybody. um, so yeah, we each culture we eat differently. So when we eat differently at home. So for us at home, we eat rice, we eat noodle. Then when we go to Italy, lots of pizzas, spaghettis. When we went Pakistan, lots of curries, lots of chapatis, roti. Um, yeah, food. Not just cooking it, but then when we travel, then we come home in the kitchen, we try to make that food, to feel closer to them, to just feel a bit of their culture. I think
Wow,
that's a good inspiration for the
wow.
children to understand and to keep in their mind that food, that culture food. And when you if you can't speak somebody's language, if
Yes.
you can at least share the food, I think that's a good connection, a good starting point to understand other culture.
Do you know what? This is a good point you've raised here because food is a culture.
Yeah.
Um, I'm from Ghana. I eat all my food. I remember, I give a story. So back home, this is a food called fufu. Eat with a bare hand. And people, when I eat that, I sometimes eat with my bare hand. And people question me that why eat your bare hand? I say it's my culture, how we eat it. And that's just understanding my culture. But of course, when I'm eating spaghetti, I wouldn't eat my hand because I need to respect my culture, eat with the right calorie. So, guys, you've raised a point here, and thank you for that. I think that's a good point here. Alisa, let me come to you again. You've I've watched you over the years, and you speak so well. Well, that I mean, of course, you are raised by your wonderful mom, and I can see that.
Thank you.
What is the secret behind your mom when you are home, and then when you see other children behaving differently?
I think space is a big thing. My mom, like, because I think partly it's because she's so busy with her work, she lets her kids do their own thing, grow in their own way, and see the world and like develop their own understanding of it. But then ultimately, I also know like push comes to shove, I know my mom's my rock, my ride or die. If I need her, she'll be there. So I think that's where it comes from. Like I'll go out like over the summer. I went to Albania for 2 weeks with my best friend, just me and her. And my
Wow.
mom, she gave me the space to grow. She gave me the space to like budget and also learn, which I don't do well, but I mean, I did it. But I think space is a big thing in your kids because I see like some of my friends' parents, their parents are really strict. Like they have a set time for them. They don't let them do certain things. And I think strict parents raise sneaky kids. There's no way about it. Like the more strict you are with your kids, the chances are they'll lie to you. So just be open and honest with them and like give them space because the older you get, the more space they want, the more responsibility they want. So I think that's just what my mom does.
So before I come to you, Maria, audience, as I said, when I met this young girl, I was blown apart. The way she speaks, and you see her confidence, even going holiday by herself with her friend. I mean, that tells you she comes from amazing home. So we want to hear from Maria, mom. You've allowed her to grow her own pace, to make mistakes, we correct, like she said. Is that because how you're raised from home, Vietnam? Or just you want her to embrace different culture and to understanding the way things are done?
Oh, well, I was raised very differently. When I was growing up in Vietnam, it was a different time. It was a different culture at that time. 30 odd years ago, I grew up in a very closed society. Majority, if not all of the people around me were Vietnamese. And our mindsets were very direct, were very narrow. I was raised to do certain things, to just copy other people. I was not raised to think for myself. Um, so when I raised my children in Britain, it was a big challenge to adapt to the culture of the country, being the Western world versus the Eastern strict upbringing. I made a lot of mistakes, but then you learn. That's
Yeah.
how we learn, don't we? Um, I made mistakes. We had some shouting matches that I regret. Then I had to just learn to adapt to the current society and generation, because nowadays the children they watch a lot of stuff on social media on their phone. They talk to their friends probably more often than they talk to us. So I just have to respect that and just just see the situation and decide what's best to do in the very moment, and let
Yeah.
them grow, like Aliza said.
I mean, looking back, it looks like same as I was raised. Straight parents, and I didn't go through it. Maybe we spent here 10 hours. So, audience, you get to know my world, but now coming to different today's Aleeza stage. Thank you for that sharing powerful statement of how you've raised and allowed her to grow on her own pace. And I think it's important that we as a parent, myself, we give them the chance, the tools to grow, to make mistakes. Of course, she used the word your my rock. So she come to you if she makes mistakes. Come to you if she needs that guideline. I think that's just what we need to allow our children to grow in that arena. So thank you for sharing that. Aleeza, thinking about your own upbringing, what lesson did you learn at home? Perhaps around respect, manners, or behavior that has shaped the way you treat people or others.
I think just because you have an opinion doesn't mean you need to voice it. I think for me personally, like I'm I was brought up Muslim by my dad because he's Muslim, but then my mom isn't really practicing and I'm not practicing much either. But then because of that, I was like raised to have certain beliefs and viewpoints on certain things, which it's not necessarily that they were like bad beliefs or viewpoints, but it was just I don't think they suit my character and who I am now. But I think certain like growing up, I've seen people openly voice their opinion about my religion and the way I practice, which I don't. And then they'll be and it's like, oh, it's not right. Like, oh, you should, because the Ramadan's coming up. So one of my friends is like, oh, you should fast the whole thing. I'm like, babes, no, I don't think it's right for me to do it. Like, it's just because I haven't done it the whole year. So it's for me to be a Muslim for like one whole month and then they go back to normal is kind of counterintuitive for me anyway. So I think my mom and my dad with themselves, like they're both like just be your own person, and just because you're doing it doesn't mean it's wrong. It also doesn't mean it's right, but it just means it's you. And it's like I think independence is a big thing, and also like growing up as well. Like there's like especially like it's a big thing in Vietnam to have there's like a hierarchy, especially in the language. You'll see there's a hierarchy based on like who you speak to. So if they're an elder, because chances are they're stubborn and they're probably stuck in their way. So just agree with them and move on. There's no need to like hash out your viewpoint every single time. I think silence is sometimes the best form of respect.
Audience, like I said, you get to know this. I think there'll be a second episode. Um, Maria, anything you want to add? I mean, she blew my mind. Anything you want to add here? Because, like you said, I think the way you are raised at home, back home, and now you allow her to express herself. What do you want to add here? Because she's raised a good point here. Not allow people to tell her you got to fast, but you allow her to do what she feel is the right way. What do you want to add here?
Oh, well, do you know what? Lisa, I'm really impressed with you today. I have to say, I think she has summarized a lot of the things about our situation, and what shapes her as a person. I'm blown away, Aleeza. I have nothing to add. I'm proud of you. Yeah.
Thank you. We're gonna stay here. Honestly, like I say, when I met her, I just she's going to be elegant, remarkable young lady, and I think we should all audience like, comment, and appreciate these two wonderful ladies. Whatever you are, like and comment. Maria, as a parent, how do you introduce culture awareness, respect to your children, especially Aleeza being the oldest? How to introduce this? Is that in a kitchen table, dining table, cooking, showing her how to cook food? How do you do that? What is the secret behind this?
Oh, that's a really good question, Eric, because every child is different.
Correct.
I have three. I can't apply the same recipe to all of them. But with Aleeza, especially, to instill culture awareness in her, I've realized that she is a child that learns through experiencing things rather than sitting down, listening to boring, long lectures. So I have tried. I don't think that I've done a great job, but I have tried by allowing her to experience different things, of our culture. So, like you say, to start at the kitchen, to make our food, to eat with the chopsticks, to eat our cultural food, our rice, our noodle, our soup, our whatever. But also outside, to meet my friends who are Vietnamese, to attend Vietnamese cultural events in Britain, um, and also to get her to see my families, my mom, my dad, brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, because it's boring for me to teach her. She doesn't learn that way. So that's how I have attempted to instill culture awareness in her. Like I said, I feel that I've done a terrible job, but I'm still trying.
Listening to you, you're doing it a practical way to go to kitchen, to learn how to use the chopstick, to meet friends and family. That's a practical. It's not like you are doing it on paper. So I'm gonna come to are you Aleeza. How do you feel when you meet them? So you raise your all your life. You are now part of society like Brits. When you meet them, what do you embrace a culture? Do you feel that are they inclined to you, your values? What are your views?
I think my mom didn't do like like the workshop. It was like teach me about Vietnamese culture because I think I know the grounds. Like I know that like with the elders, especially, like I'm supposed to like I respect them and I don't necessarily argue with them on everything like I would do if they were my friend or if they were my peer. I think like especially like some of my friends now, like I have through my mom, like through like her friends, I've become friends with her kids, and we all kind of speak about Vietnamese, like being Vietnamese, but because my Vietnamese is terrible, I can't speak it that well. Um, they try and teach me. 'Cause I remember one of my friends, their name's Ta. I think I'm saying that wrong anyway, but I remember like it took her 5 minutes to try and like get me to like learn how to say the name right, just because I wasn't like growing up. My mom didn't teach me Vietnamese as much, and like she mainly prioritized me like speaking English properly. So my mouth just doesn't move like the way like it's supposed to move in Vietnamese. But I think through my mom, I've learned like I've been introduced like to so many Vietnamese people, so I'm learning more about my culture through them as well. So I think that's just a big thing.
I mean, I'm sure that our audience intrigue, and I'm gonna stick here, Alisa. What makes this different to you and your peers at school? Because here you are learning Vietnam in different ways, practical, meeting your mom's children, and are bound together. When you meet your other friends that are not Vietnam or not, how do you interact with them? How do you treat them? Do you treat them differently, or do you embrace also their culture? Because it's more about knowing yourself and, of course, your values.
So I'm a big foodie, which also means that I love food from all around the world. So like you mentioned fufu, I've been dying to try it. I just can't find a place near me that does it. But also I think because like I love food and like my love, it's like I'm not so much of an introvert, so I will speak like I speak to like everybody. I don't care who it is, but like I also judge not based on culture and like what ethnicity you are, but based on your character. So I have no like borders or like boundaries speaking to anybody. So I think for me, it's just about understanding though. If like I try and understand their culture because some like it's beautiful. I think all the different cultures in the world are beautiful, and like some of their practices are amazing. Like the Spanish have a quinceañera. I think that's an amazing thing to do. Like when you're 15, to like a big ass party and just like have fun. Like that's a beautiful thing. It's like part of culture. So I think it's like I love learning about it because I'm quite nosy. So I was like, I just love learning about all the different cultures. It's just great.
I like the word nosy. It's good that at least it gives you to learn different people lifestyle, way of life. Um, Maria, looking back, is there anything you might approach differently when it comes to conversation about cultural diversity with Eliza? Is there anything you could do differently? I mean, you've mentioned straight back home, and of course, you made the mistakes and you're able to correct it. But we are parents, we make mistakes all the time. We make mistakes all the time. What could you have done differently when it comes to cultural diversity around Elisa and the children at home and others?
Yeah, like I said, I grew up in a very, what I would say, boring settings, where every family culture was similar to one another. Parents were the dad work, the mom stay at home raising the kids, and the kids just go to school and come back and barely know anything about culture awareness. So when I grew up, I had some expectations on my children, for example, about the family hierarchy respect. I took it for granted that, oh, I gave birth to my kids, I raised my kids, I provided for my kids, so now they have to respect me. So when the children, especially in Britain, they are free,
Yeah.
they answer back a lot. So for a long time, I struggled with that. I used to get upset. I used to just shut down on them. Now looking back, I wish I could be more open-minded about that, to understand that actually they are born in a different culture,
Mhm.
in a different generation. The society everywhere has changed. So I wish that I knew that sooner. Yeah, if I wish I knew that sooner, then my relationship with my children and how I approach things would have been a lot better.
So, do you think, I mean, you do go back home often. Has the culture changed over there? Or do you think they're still using the same mommy stay at home, daddy work, you go to school, you come back, do your schoolwork, you wash the dishes. When we come, daddy come home, you say to dad. Has it changed in the area? Or do you feel that, I mean, the world is evolving. People are traveling
Definitely,
all over the world. So do you think there have been shift change in your view?
definitely, it has changed a lot. And I think that by seeing that change, it made me embrace the changes here easier because I left my country when I was 16, 17.
So more like
Um,
Aleeza age.
yeah, so I try to hold on to my culture. Um, w- we go back often now, but for some time we did not go back. So I held on to that time capsule in my mind that, oh, children should be certain ways, um, parents should be certain ways. But by going back and saw the changes, like I said, there have been a lot of changes in the world. And I believe in every country, in every society, things have changed and have moved on. So yes, there have been a lot of changes, and by us going back, seeing the changes, it helps us embrace the general changes and grow better.
Fantastic, powerful statement. Aleeza, I'm going to bring you here. The word changes. I grew up with only one social media, what was called MySpace. Maybe do you remember MySpace? Yes, MySpace. Over the past 20 years, actually, yeah, we have about many social media, your generation. We now have AI, which is now a tsunami. Changes. How do you, Alice? I want to hear your perspective. An audience, I want to hear your perspective. How do you switch from social media to have a time with your parents or your family? Because social media can be overwhelmed. You click and you flip. You click and you flip. How do you switch and say, I put my phone down, go and have a conversation with my parents, my mom, my siblings? How do you switch? How do you make the changes, the transition?
I just put my phone away and put it on Do Not Disturb, or I'll have it next to me. But then for many apps like Snapchat, I don't have my notifications on because I don't like people that much. I don't like them messaging me in like my personal home. So I that's just me. But also like we have family game nights in the house where like every Friday we would like either watch a movie together or play a game together, which gets quite heated because we're all very competitive. So you can imagine how that goes. I think I understand where the question comes from because of social media, many kids don't have the ability to like talk to people face to face and hold a conversation without like a phone or a game. But I think because my mom has always been like an advocate for like screen time, so like growing up I would have a screen time limit. So that's like definitely helped me like be so open and like be able to talk to like so many different people.
So would you say was that because of how your mom is? allowing you your own pace. That's why you're for doing what. Then there's a time for me and my family. Switch off, you know, this step, or just that this is how you see the world evolving.
I think it's a mix of both because I don't like posting. Like like my love language is physical touch. I like to see the person I'm talking to. I like to like see their reactions and like kind of read their body language. So I don't personally like the whole like texting thing because I'm really bad at texting. Like I'm a really bad texter, so I just don't like it. So I always like try and make plans to go out with my friends, and also my mum quite like likes me like getting out the house so she can have her own space as well. So I'm not just there annoying her because whenever I'm in the house I tend to annoy her. But I think that that's just my job as a daughter personally. But yeah.
Maria, like I said, we grew up with only one social media, MySpace, which is now disappeared. Now we have many of them. Yes, you're raising elegantly amazing young lady. Yes, of course, you also have your own personal space. But how do you navigate this world of social media and not monitor Aleeza, but teaching her of values of knowing who to speak to and when to switch off? How do you do this?
Oh, it's very difficult. It's extremely difficult. First, like Aliza said, I try to apply screen time. It worked for some time, to some extent. But then after that, I remember her sending me screenshots of her friends' screen time on average per day or per week, whatever. And I thought to myself, wow, you made a good move there because she was in a friend group of 4. And I tried to get her screen time down to somewhat like half an hour or 2 hours per day. Um, and within 5-10 minutes, she sent me screenshots of her other 3 friends whose screen time were ridiculously high. I remember them to be between 6 and 9 hours per day. Now, those were her close friends. So straight away, I knew that I did not have a lot of legs to stand on there. I was like, wow, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? So then I had to take a step back. I said, well, I can't be too rigid because, like Aliza said, if I try to apply something that's so unrealistic and impractical, it might have counter effect.
Yeah.
So then I decided to take a step back and to monitor her instead. So when I said monitor, I meant to observe her performance at school, her behaviors with her friends and with me and with her brother, with other people. Um, and just had to take a step back to allow her the space for her to navigate life herself. Because for me, it's important for Aliza to understand the cause and consequences of that. So she needs to understand that, well, she chose her screen time, she chose how to use her phone her way. So she needs to be responsible for her actions at home, at school, and in the society in general. But it was very difficult, and I think it's still a struggle for me now.
Alyssa, so this is interesting topic because as I'm a parent myself and I do have my screen time with my children and I control otherwise I mean they're still kids. 8 p.m. everything is shut off. Between 6 and 8, shut off, no nothing until they come to school, they come home. And of course, we got audience that are watching globally, Alyssa, over the world. Listen to your mom, and I love the way she said to step back, not giving the strict control because that will even make things worse. What do you want to tell the audience that are watching globally as your expectations, your own ways that you've done it, that you don't compromise or upset your mom or even your friends, not upset because you don't want to mute them or not, responding to them. What is your feedback on this, and what have you learned to have that space yourself?
I think with space and freedom comes like a level of like self-control and like self-regulation because nowadays my mom doesn't like check my screen time, but then she also trusts me to like do all my set work and do my homework and study and do like everything that's required. So I think if you expect, like if you want your parents to give you like freedom, then you've got to show them that you're responsible enough to like have that freedom. Because also I think if you like raise your kids with like a barrier and like you like control every single thing they do, then when they leave, like eventually like I'll go to uni. I'm guessing that's when like they'll start to like act up and that's when they'll start to fall off the wagon because they don't understand why like their parents did what they did. So I think it has to come from the balance. Like the parents have to explain like to the kids why things are a certain way. Like with my younger brother, he loves playing games, but then it's also not like the best for him. But also because all of us have our own lives, we can't always like be there and like entertain him. So we just put, like give him the iPad. But I think it's good to explain to the kids that just because it's there doesn't mean you have to use it and doesn't mean you have to like play games and like be on it 24/7 because there is a world outside of the screen.
And then, Alyssa, I'm gonna stick here. So, this podcast is raising the next generation to be leaders of the next 20 years. And at some point in life, you become your own CEO, your own director, your own boss, whatever you aspire to do. And I know you've achieved that. And you on this platform, what do you tell the audience? Because I know your friends at school, they might have they could go to bed at 1 a.m. They wake up and they're still. How do you switch? And how do you tell them that there's a world outside phone? Yes, you've got amazing mom behind you, supporting you, allowing you free time. How do you tell your friends that there's something out there that you don't have to be so rigid on that?
I think we just go out and like see each other. Like over the holidays, we would go out and do like swimming, ice skating, bowling, like go out to eat because also like me and my friends, we're big backs. We like food, so we always like go out and eat. And also like my new friends now, they don't know like the way around Chinatown, or because I'm Vietnamese, I do. And like I know which places to go, so I kind of like show them around and like, oh, let's go here, let's go here, and then alternatively they'll also like show me around like their area and which food places to go. And I think that's just like I think food's a great way to connect to people, honestly, because it's great. But yeah.
Excellent. Maria, let's dive into you as a parent, myself as a parent. What do you tell the what do you tell your younger self? What what would be your younger self? What do you tell your younger self right now? If you were Elisa age right now, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, wow. That's a very deep question. If I were in Aliza's place today, I would say to myself to be selective of what I let in, what I watch. Because with AI, when you start watching something, it keeps on feeding you similar content. Um, I would say to myself, this is where I want to be. This is how I want to be. So I would like to have this sort of contents onto my feeds. But of course, the challenge with that, I understand, is that boring contents tend to be the good ones, the beneficial for you. But exciting content, on the other hand, it might be bad for you. Um, so I understand her struggles that she might be facing right now. But if I were her growing up in this generation, I would probably do that. Be very selective. Yeah.
That's a very powerful statement. We've got a few minutes. Aleeza, I'm coming to you. I'm sure you've encountered many cultural challenges. Can you share two areas you have experienced cultural challenges and why?
I think, like, again, like the hierarchy in Vietnam is like especially with the languages, there's like a set hierarchy because the nouns change based on who you speak to. So for me personally, I wouldn't like call somebody older than me by their first name unless they're like my elders, like if they're more than 5 years older than me, they'll get like the uncle status. But then my friends, they were like they'll treat like everybody the same. And I'm like, honey, babes, no, he's like 50. I'm gonna call him like uncle or like grandpa. I'm not gonna call him by his first name because like even with my teachers now, they want me to call them by their first name. I'm like, so no, I can't do it because I wasn't raised that way. I wasn't raised. I think the respect is a big thing as well because the older you are, the more experience you'll have. So I should
Yes.
listen and like value your opinion a lot because you've been around for many, many decades. And I haven't. But I think some of my friends, they're like, oh no, he's just a person. It's okay. We'll call them by their first name. Like, I can't do that. That's just like, that's one like big culture shock for me because I remember going to one of my friend's house and they called their parents by their first name. And I was like, no, 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 we can't do that. Like, no. I think that's one like, it's not a challenge, but it's like definitely like a culture
Yeah.
difference. And also because I am of like Pakistani Vietnamese heritage, certain things they clash, especially because my parents are divorced, so it's like all the more reason for like for them to clash. Um, I think marriage is a big thing that definitely differs between the two. My dad's definitely more modern, but that doesn't necessarily mean he hasn't let go of like his old cultural beliefs, which also means that if I fail, then he will marry me off. So like I'm scared to go back to Pakistan with him because he might marry me off. I'm like, maybe not. Also, like my mom, she's like pick the right person, don't like sleep around, like it's your values, like your chastity, don't date for fun because it's like it's a waste of time. Well, no, it's not like don't date for fun, but like don't be with the wrong person who's gonna use you. My mom's very like take your time with it, but my dad's like if you want here by a certain age, I will marry you off. I'm like, okay, that's a conversation to be had. But I think that's like one of the cultural challenges I face being mixed race.
How? Okay. Let me so. Um, Maria, as a mom, listen to this. I mean, what is? Please comment here. Let's comment here.
Wow. This podcast has been fun. Because at home, you try to teach your kids, you just keep trying. It's like climbing a very high mountain that you can never get to the top. So sometimes you don't know
Yeah.
what's underneath you or
Hmm.
what's
Hmm.
above you. But this is a unique experience for me to sit down and listen to my daughter as a separate grown up sort of person. Yeah, I'm intrigued to hear my own daughter and her views on things. I'm impressed, Lisa.
Thank you.
Well, like I said to audience, when I first met her, that Chinese event, I said to myself, this is a unique young lady, and you could hear her voice, and I can't say much, but and I think she also have a strong, like you said, a rock, her mom, who's supporting her. So we should all comment, likes, subscribe because I'm going to invite her again, second episode. So Alisa, stay tuned. Last question,
Okay.
Alisa. As we wrap up, if you could please give one advice to younger people understanding different culture, what is your advice? And again, I will come to you, Maria. What will be your advice to younger people about cultural understanding?
I say just have an open mind because like difference doesn't mean one way is better than the other. It just means it's different. So I think just have an open mind, like be accepting about it because you're gonna come from different, like everyone's gonna be different, and I think culture plays a big part in that. So if you just have an open mind and just be respectful, then you should be fine. And obviously, genuinely, silence is like sometimes the best form of respect. If you don't agree, then you don't have to voice it because it will cause an argument and will cause a disagreement. So just keep quiet, keep to yourself, and like have an open mind.
I'm gonna come to you, Maria, one second. Aleeza, you use a point here that when you go to people's home and then your friends call their mom first name, do you ever correct them? I know it's a big cultural differences because my child wouldn't call me by Eric. They would never do that because again, I have that values. That you call me dad, or you call your mom mom. Do you correct them? Because I want our audience to hear your perspective and what is because again, like I said, this episode is raising the next generation. So we want to raise a generation that will have good manners, respectful to each other, having thoughtful thinking. So what would you do at this? What do you do normally when you hear them calling their parent their by first name?
I think my first time when I heard it, I was like, "She's your mom. Why are you like calling her by her first name?" Because for me nowadays, I don't know my grandparents' first name. Like I've never called them by their first names. I don't know it. But then they were like, "Oh yeah, she's my mom, but like she's a person." So like I think we just had a conversation about it and like we shared our different viewpoints. But it wasn't necessarily like me trying to change the way she like talks to her mom because it's quite frankly none of my business. Like it's her relationship with her mom. But it's also like I shared my point of view. She's like, "Oh okay, like yeah, I get it." I think it's just communication really. Like if you communicate with each other, then you should be fine. But like it's communication, but like without the intent to change, just to understand.
Maria, hearing this, what is your thought on this?
I agree with a lot of what Aliza says. Um, so if you were to ask me if I were to say something to other parents of our generation, I would say again, let's keep the communication open and keep an open mind. Um, like I said, when we grew up, it was a different time. The world was different. But now with social media, with AI, these children are growing up with their own personalities and they are taught to be aware of their individuality. Um, so we just have to respect that and talk about it and to see which view is more suitable for this society in this generation. Um, and like Aliza said, talking is about understanding, is to get to a better state of relationship, whether it's parent and child or friends or peers. Just talk and be open minded. I think that's the most important thing to do in a relationship. Yeah.
Before we finish, last question to you both. And Alyssa, what do you tell your mom now at now? I mean, she's amazing mom. And of course, she allowed you freedom. What do you tell her right now? What do you want to tell her? I know she's somewhere different, but what do you want to tell her now?
I say thank you. Thank you for like allowing me the space to grow and like kind of learning with me and kind of growing with me because I understand that like the way she grew up isn't the way I'm raised and isn't the way my brother's raised. So I say thank you for being like an understanding mom and trying your best to like make sure that we learn and to make sure that we become the best people.
Maria, what do I tell her? What do they say to her? I mean, she's blew my mind today. And I think this is my best next generation podcast I've ever had.
Oh,
This is
that's
one of the
sweet.
best. This is number one on the list. This is number one. So, audience, you might have seen some of them will be coming out soon, but this is the top notch. Maria, the stage is yours. What do you want to tell this remarkable young lady? This speaks so eloquently, so powerful, so confident, knowing her boundaries, knowing her values, knowing who she is, knowing who she wants to become. knowing that she's got a rock behind her and the rock allow her to walk freely, make mistakes, but she'll come back and say, "Mom, I need you, help me here." What do I tell her? Because I'm sure you got. Please go ahead.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that. I think um, I would say to Lisa, I said, I'm really impressed with you today. I'm really proud of who you have become. Um, so keep growing, keep being yourself. I'll be here for you whenever you need me.
Thank you.
This is beautiful. Aleeza, Maria, I'm truly grateful with both perspective. Your insight shows that understanding start from home, start from the kitchen table, the dining, playing games on Fridays, challenge each other, allow each other space. Thank you for sharing your stories. I'm honored and have such conversation with you both. Genuine grateful and thank you for coming to Manners Maketh Mic.
Thank you
So
so
today's
much for having us.
conversation has been a pleasure, and I will tell my production team to do next episode again, different topics. If this conversation resonates to you, invite I invite you to like, I invite you to subscribe. Manners make it Mike, wherever you are. Until next time, remember, manners are not old fashioned, they are powerful. And we hear from Aleeza and her wonderful mom. Until next time, stay tuned.